Hello and welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack Tuxpree. He's Tay-Tay.
Yo.
This is the Behringer DeepMind 12. We're doing a couple of videos on it today, so keep an eye out for that. One playing only, one where I think it's the best keyboard you could buy as a beginner, and this one where I want to show you what I learned. I had about 4 or 5 hours with it yesterday, and I'm just going to show you what I learned with it. So there's going to be playing, hopefully we can go through all the features together, and just so that you know that there's an endpoint to this and that Taylor knows there's an endpoint, because I do worry about his sanity with me talking about all this stuff. He's going to set me a timer. What, we've got 20 minutes? Yeah. Okay, so guess here, Taylor. This is Tay-Tay's phone of truth, and it's going to ping in 20 minutes, and I'm going to get out what I learned. No notes, no edits. We're just going to dive in, all right? Let's do it. You ready? Yeah. Yay. Oh! Right. So yesterday, I took this up to my studio, plugged it in. First things first, the fan noise completely freaked me out. So if you buy one or you've heard about the fan noise, you can change that in the global settings and actually choose how much, if it's not fan noise, how hard's the fan working. I had a little read. Apparently, you shouldn't have to worry about it. That's how excited my day was. But then I started flicking through some of the presets and I got to this one, which is the 8th preset. Check it out. Called Robbie to RBR. And I fell in love. Unreal sounds. Flicking through those presets yesterday, I just get, I've got to reference it as well. Taylor, I said to him, I think I've done a video on this before, 2017, if you want to flick back in time and see a overweight, well, even more overweight version of me, really blagging it, knowing nothing about this thing. This is the DeepMind 12, 12 meaning 12 voices. This is why I want to do the video, because I feel like yesterday I got to learn about it. So that's a posh preset that made me fall in love. And then I thought I'll do what I always do, which is read the manual and get an initial preset. So how do we do that? Hold program and tap compare. And now we're in an initialized state. Let's have a listen to the oscillators. So we've got 2 oscillators, 12 voices. So we've got 12 times 2 of this. Awesome. We've got a saw wave, square, put them together. Very much like a classic Juno 106. Also got a 3rd oscillator that we can bring up in level. And we can change that pitch. Really nice raw sound. Also the screen in the middle, I instantly got it. This time looking at it, I'm like, I was kind of thought it just looked like a crappy scientific calculator when I first looked at it, but it's so valuable and giving me loads of cool information, right? So I can actually see the state of these three envelopes we've got over here. there, VCA envelope, VCF, and the mod. So I can see that we've got a little bit of release on there. So if I turn that off, we'll get a dead stop. Put a bit of a tack on, a little bit of decay, sustain, and a little bit of release, and I can see the envelope. Crazy long release times as well. Some of the atmospheric patches, I think it goes up to 32 seconds. Really long release. So we're going to get to the effects in a bit, but very flexible envelopes. Also, we've got the VCA, VCF, but also a spare third mod envelope. When we get to the mod matrix was wicked. Also got a bit of noise in there. I love the screen, how it's visually represented. Got those two oscillators. Let's make a bit more of a simple envelope. And listen to that filter. So we'll swoop it right down. Here we go. We've got a 2-pole filter, so slightly less drastic slope. More of the high end in, and it's represented on screen again. They're really good for when you're doing pads. Keeping more of the high end in so you don't lose your notes you're playing. Really dig it. If I want to put a bit of resonance on the screen again. It's telling me LFO2, why is that on there? And 2 arrows. If I crank up the LFO, arrows get wider, so it means it's affecting that point on the cutoff and the resonance, and I know it's controlled by LFO2. I wasn't even looking at the manual, it was telling me what to do. If I wanted to change that waveform, I can see they're there, but how do I do it? I tap edit, and it shows me the shapes, and I can flick through them. Triangle, really posh one as well. Not only sample and hold, but sample and glide. So smoothing off the edges of the sample and hold, but we also have slew in there. Everything I did, it was like I recently played the Matrix Poly, no, the Poly Brute, and everyone was like, whoa, that's a crazy synth. So many of the advanced features of the Poly Brute I found were already here in the DeepMind, and they put them in there years ago. In a synth that at the moment is only costing, it's under £700 here from Andertons with the keyboard. Crazy. So we've got that LFO there, we've got a second LFO in there. Also, one really nice feature that hit me was when I'm listening program to get back to the main screen, just hitting this boost feature. So without, and it made everything really fat in a really great way. And also we've got a high pass filter right at the end if it gets a bit messy. Also Poly here, what does that do? That affects the voice mode. We've got 12 voices, but we can also stack them and do them in different ways. So I hit edit underneath the Poly, up to the polyphony, and let's make this unison 12. And it cranks the volume right up there, sorry everyone. I then whacked up the unison detune. Crazy, and I was like, whoa, this is so instant and fun. Also, I could make it, I want analog polysynths to sound warbly to me. So I went down, I saw oscillator drift, I cranked it up to about 25, 26, cranked these up to about the same thing. Let's put it back into the poly mode and listen to how like nice and warbly this gets. the LFO off. Just all starts to sit a little bit out of tune and inconsistent, but I like that. I wanted that fine control over those parameters on plenty of other synths I've played. I really dug it. Oh, God, we're gonna go 10 minutes till Subway. Right, what else did I like about it? I loved these curves. We love curves, right? Never seen this on a synth. I was a bit scared by it, but it was really easy. So say I'm in my VCA, so I'm shaping how the note behaves. There we go, we've got that release curve there. And I want it to have a bit of an attack, so it did. But we've always just, you can see it visually there, we've just been given this kind of straight line. If I hit curve and then move the fader, I can, a bit like automation lanes on Logic, where, or whatever you're using, where I can adjust the curve of that line. So now it will do a really quick rise and then like slow up. You can see it with the shoulder. Same if I bring down the sustain. One thing is I had to remember it was on, so if I bring down the sustain, check it out. Basically draw in, and then when I go to the filter, if I drop that down a bit, I can draw in some pretty nuts filter curves. So let's just go crazy. I'm never gonna survive unless we gotta talk crazy. Here we go. Send it to the envelope. Very rudimentary, but we're pushed for time. But you can see how, I could see how they were making some of these crazy ambient evolving patches, that's where they were getting that from. One thing is, let me turn off and go back to a initialized patch as well. I didn't show you. Also, check this out, this compare button. It shows me, say I change preset, it shows me where the fader should be, like almost automation on an SSL desk, and it lights up when the fader's in the right position. So here it says portamento time. It's got an arrow down. So if I go down, 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 deeper and down, go. Yeah, and then you see it flicked to an arrow, and then when I've got it there, that's where it was in the preset. Ingenious idea of showing me how to set the faders to where the preset was if I want to carry on. I really dug that. One other thing is that you can adjust the tone mod on that other preset. So if I can, oh, here we go, I'm getting a bit lost. No worries, global, turn off compare, tap, back to that initialized patch. Check out this other oscillator. Very unique tone, I didn't show that. That's modulatable. We've got a crazy mod matrix that made sense to me. I hit mod, here we go, bang. I want the mod wheel to really adjust that tone mod. So let's find that. There we go, tone mod depth. Then I heard there was a built-in Wi-Fi router. I thought, what? That's going to be complicated. It really wasn't. Went into the global settings network. I turned it into an access point so I can access it. Got my iPad Pro up. In the settings here, typed in the IP address of this Sounds crazy. I was like, oh, this is going to be lame, but it worked. And check it out. I can change presets. I go to preset manager and be like, Juno proximity, double tap it. And check it out. Outer rim carry. Hammer bass. Love it. My best thing about this was the effects. So if I get another initialized patch, and I want to put on some effects, no problem. Tap on it and check that out. Touchscreen control of 33 effects. So maybe I want to give it a little bit of dirt. So a rack amp. So we've got a bit of dirt in there. I want a bit of chorus because I want to make it sound like a dirty Juno. So chorus D. I'm tapping the switches. Hear that chorus on and off? Off. On. Little bit of mod, delay and reverb. And then I can whack it through a stereo enhancer. Crank the spread. Other things that reminded me of the Poly Brute were that if I was in voice mode, I think, if I hear, here we go, VCA, pan spread, check this out. Crank that up. Oh, just whack that up. And in the mod matrix, I could go here, find aftertouch, which I didn't think a lot of the patches show that off, but I find pressure. Let's crank that up. And then one thing that I thought was amazing, effects level, and then I can find effects level, low, high. What have I got? I've got that rack amp in effects 1, and I can do the drive. I can scale that a bit, you know, because that was a bit crazy. And I could go down to the mod matrix here and get pressure again doing something. Pressure, crank that up, and let's do the filter cutoff. VCF frequency, drop it down a bit. Bit release on this VCA. And maybe I can get the LFO whilst we're here jamming, crank this up on the filter, LFO, and set this to awesome variety in the waveforms here. So if I flick this across, the sample and glide. 30 seconds left. That's as far as I got. But I found it really approachable. I love the screen. The iPad works flawlessly. The fact I don't have to rely on anything else, it's got it built in. Taylor loved the fact it had a ruddy kettle lead input, no weird power supply. The desktop one looks an absolute winner that you can rack mount. Also CV out, proper MIDI in, out, through. No faff, under 700 quid. I just think it's an absolute winner. Chicken dinner. Talking of din-dins, we have to go to Subway because the time has gone off. Thanks for sticking with us. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing. If you don't, let us know. Oh, wow. Amazing bit of kit. I'm going to give him a choice. The Tay-Tay, would you like Techno Disco, Event Horizon, or Mouse Chord?
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. Thanks for watching. Consider this. Yep, double veggie patty in a wrap and Italian BMT. We'll be there in 5 minutes. Thanks.